What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's get a little spicy because we got a few things to talk about as it pertains to Real Housewives of Miami. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So let's get into this. Okay. So the first thing we're talking about is Alexia, but more specifically, Todd. So we talked about this before. Todd saying that he was bringing a lawsuit up against Bravo and production and things of that nature. Well, it seems as though he has actually filed the lawsuit. All right. So this was reported on Tuesday by TMZ. So let's get into it. And y'all always know the link will be in the description box below if you want to read the article for yourself. Okay, so let me pull it up. So it says this: RHOM Todd Nepola sues NBC/Bravo for defamation. It says the Real Housewives of Miami star Todd Nepola is taking Bravo and NBC Universal to court, claiming the network straight up lied about his finances to juice up storylines around his ex-wife Alexia Nepola for season 6 and 7. TMZ has obtained the lawsuit. Todd, who claims he's worth $100 million, is saying he's never bounced a check, never missed a payment, and never had any financial trouble. Meanwhile, RHOM allegedly painted him as a broke and struggling, just to make Alexia's storyline more juicy for viewers. The suit calls out multiple episodes in which castmate Adriana de Manura specifically spread false claims, from saying Todd's business was tanking to suggesting he might have to break his lease and downgrade his apartment. Todd's lawyer says all of this was bogus and done knowingly by Bravo. Todd Sides points out he even bought more than $115 million in real estate during filming, financed through legit bank loans. No shady business here. The lawsuit claims Bravo and NBC Universal knew or should have known these financial claims were false, and now Todd wants courts to set the record straight. We reached out to NBC Universal for comments. So far, no word back. So, again, if you guys would like to read this article, please look in the description box below. I'm going to be honest, I do not think Todd is going to win this case. It feels like a get rich scheme that, like, he's hoping that Bravo wants to pay him that, like, like a payout or a settlement so he'll go away. But I don't think that's going to work, mainly because Bravo and NBC Universal has legal departments that are there to stop this type of situation from happening, to like dead it. And the reason why I say that is because Todd saying in the article, or the article suggesting that the lawsuit that Todd is bringing up, they're alleging that Bravo should have known or knew that the financial statements that were being made about him were false is wild to me, unless Todd has actual proof that he sat down with somebody on production and they went through his bank accounts, or he had an email conversation with them showing his bank statements. Because why are you saying they knew if you didn't give them the information? Or why are you saying they should have known if you did not provide them the information to be able to refute what Alexia or Adriana said? What it sounds to me is that Todd's ego is bruised and that he is insecure about his financial status. And he feels as though being on the show, he embarrassed himself, with that whole long apology video to Nicole's husband, Anthony, you know, Adriana saying what she's saying, and then you have his ex-wife Alexia on the show saying Todd was renting everything. It's smoke and mirrors over there pretty much. That I feel as though his ego is bruised and now he's doing this. But I do feel as though it's gonna backfire, because if Bravo really want to take it there with you, they might subpoena to get your bank statements and we really find out that you're not worth $100 million. Because if you ask me, someone who's worth $100 million would not give two shadiggities, as my daddy likes to say, about somebody on a reality show that makes less than them. Because if Todd really is worth $100 million, we know Alexia and Adriana aren't worth that. So why are you bothered by what they're saying? I know if it was me and I could pull up, my bank account on my phone on my bank app, and I see, hell, if I see a $5 million in my bank account, I would not care what any of these women would have to say about me. So to me, it just feels like a get rich scheme that he's hoping that he's going to get a payout, but I don't see that happening. And mind you, nothing Alexia or Adriana said influenced my opinion about Todd. I have been feeling this way about Todd since season 4. He gave me like snake oil salesman, car salesman vibes, kind of scammy, kind of sleazy. Okay. He didn't give me that he has money like that. So this to me isn't gonna go the way I think he thinks it's gonna go. So next, let's talk about Adriana and Julia. Because girl, shenanigans. So if you watch part 1 of the reunion, which my review is coming, life has been life, and y'all please bear with me. But at the reunion, at the end of part 1, Julia reveals that her and Adriana slept together in the Hamptons. She says this: I would like to say something that would bring clarity on why we're with Adriana where we are. In the Hamptons, Adriana and I slept together. Everybody's gasped, and I'm not going to lie, Adriana, I believe her because the death glare you were giving her, I was like, girl, it's given that y'all might have. And shout out to the person who reposted when Julia proposed to Adriana in the Hamptons. Because I'm going to be honest, I believe Julia mainly because of that proposal. It was weird. I've been friends with people for a long time. Like, I have people that I'm still friends with that I met in 8th grade. Like, they my ride or dies. But you would never see me get down on one knee and propose to them. Like, I still love them, but I don't love them like that. And that proposal gave, girl, I'm in love with you. Let me pull the proposal clip up.
Yes. For you. Really? Really. What is it? I don't know. Open. Just open. Oh my god. It's a ring?
Like, honestly, that was weird. And it gave y'all had something going on. Then I saw somebody online brought up at the reunion when Andy asked Julia, like, have you and Adriana ever kissed before? And Adriana immediately said no, but Julia hesitated. So it's giving, Well, Adriana took to her social media. I think it was a day or two after the reunion and said this: don't rush to conclusions. The real truth will be revealed next week. And then she said, stay tuned. She posted this in her Insta story. And here's the thing. It seems that this is not what Adriana was referring to when Julia and her got into this argument, which the argument that Julia is referring to, because I saw a sneak peek, was the argument at the end of the season at Stephanie's Christmas party. They end up showing us like a flashback of where Adriana was like, girl, leave me alone before I tell it. You don't want me to go there, and I'll go there. And I believe that Julia assumed that Adriana was referring to that situation, but Adriana is like, no, it was something else. So I'm wondering, is the something else like gag worthy that really like is going to really break up the scene? Or is it nothing really and Julia outed cheating on her wife for no reason? But I was like, my God, today, girl. So moving on to our last topic, let's talk about Miss Guerdy, okay? So Guerdy had a lot of things to say in her Insta stories, and I have some thoughts about what she's been doing online as it pertains to the ladies. So let's get into it. So the first thing I saw was Guerdy reposting a collage, but only posting her and Lisa after Julia reveals that her and Adriana slept together. And she captioned this picture by saying, "When you find out they're loyal to no one." And then she has the hand over mouth emoji, the aggravated emoji, and the gasp emoji. And I mean, she not wrong. Julia seems to only be loyal to who she feels like she can get things out of. Julia is definitely a social climber. Then the next thing she put in her Insta story was something that we are going to see on part two, and it's unseen footage of her getting Julia together. When I tell you she got Julia together real quick and I was impressed, I said, okay, Guerdy, this is the energy that I need at the reunion and for next season if you coming back. Okay, girl. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, they're going to show this unforeseen footage from the Christmas party where Julia is basically saying that Adriana is jealous of her music career, and this is after Julia and Adriana got into it. And um what's her name? Guerdy is pretty much explaining to Julia why Adriana is mad. So shouts out to Queens of Bravo because they gave us a play by play. So Guerdy is like, well, yeah, she's upset, but she said it started with you being upset with her for not walking out after the whole text message situation. Julia responds to that by saying, "You humiliated me, you insulted me." And Guerdy responds back by saying, "Yeah, I did. I quid pro quoed you." And then Julia gets irritated because Guerdy is like talking with her hands. And she says, "Don't put your fingers in my face." And Guerdy said, "Because what? You're going to throw something? Is there too many beverages on the table?" And then the camera pans to the table that they are standing around and it says, "Table full of beverages." I said, Guerdy, get her. Get her, Guerdy. That is the energy I need at the reunion. And I need next season from Guerdy. Cause that, I mean, when I tell you she wrapped Julia up so quick, I said, come on, girl. That's how you supposed to get the girls together. So Guerdy reposted that scene in her Insta story and she said this: "Coming up on part two of the reunion, more unseen footage. Oh, and hopefully you'll get to also see the reunion footage of me explaining what the text proved, because I did discuss that." And then she puts hashtag the more you know. And the video has a statement over it where it says Guerdy ate her up, and she did. And then Guerdy says, "When they're delusional and think your BFF is jealous of their opera singing and you have to set the record straight." Then continuing on in Guerdy's Insta stories, she reposted a page by the name of Your Bish, the therapist, and it says, "Then the group tried to save Julia." In parentheses, the person says, "Why?" Offering the excuse that everyone in the group has thrown things at each other. Production came in with facts showing flashbacks that this was Julia's third incident of being physically aggressive with the group. This leads to Julia's next excuse, which was her outburst only happened once with Guerdy. Julia is offering apologies on the surface, but continued apologizing without changed behavior is just manipulation. Giving an apology means accepting that once one is offered, that's all we can do, and the other person may or may not accept it. I do agree with that. Being truly sorry means accepting that someone may not forgive us and includes changing our behaviors going forward. And then they captioned this with saying, "What a part one reunion." So it looked like Guerdy is not buying what Julia is selling. And then the last thing I saw her post was a TikTok video of someone saying, "Me on my way to Bravo headquarters because the Guerdy edit of the reunion part one was giving blame shift." And it was. It felt as though the cast was trying to say both parties were equally culpable in what happened, when no, Julia is unhinged and she did too much. Way too much. And after they did show Julia being physical so many times, she has a problem. She's aggressive and erratic. So here's my thoughts about this. So I am in the middle when it comes to the cast feeling some type of way about Guerdy's behavior online. On one hand, I understand the women being frustrated and upset with Guerdy because they were like, girl, you and Julia made up. Why are you continuing to have these feelings and thoughts and opinions online? And we're already getting hatred pushed our way, and you're basically fanning the flames of making it worse. I would feel some type of way too. I would. you know, especially if I was already getting it bad and then you make it worse. But then on the other hand, I'm like looking at Guerdy like, girl, she does not have to be remorseful or really take y'all's feelings into consideration, because it doesn't seem like y'all do that for her. So being frustrated and upset that she is voicing her opinions and her thoughts, and it may contribute to people feeling like it's okay for them to harass y'all, and that's something that comes with the territory. Now, do I think it's okay for the women to be harassed by the fans? No. I think it's weirdo behavior to actively go to somebody's page that you say you hate and be in their comment sections talking mad shit to them. That's weird to me. People that I don't like, whether it's like regular people or celebrities, I don't follow them, and I ignore them. You know? But people who go out their way to do that bother me. They're on the same level of people who, when you're talking about somebody on your, like, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or Twitter, and they at that person in the comments, and it's like, if I wanted to at that person I would have, but I didn't, so why do you feel the need to do that? You're weird if you do that. Okay, you're weird. And so, like, I get it, but I'm also kind of like, it's not Guerdy's job to tell the fans to leave y'all alone. Y'all did things that pissed off the fans, and it is what it is. But I can say I have critiqued the way that Guerdy has behaved online, because I don't feel like it's necessarily that genuine. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if Guerdy would be behaving this way if she did not have the fan support. Because I don't even think she was this vocal last season, season 6, when Larsa outed that she had cancer. So I get it, you know? But also, I feel as though Guerdy has to be careful. Lisa has to be careful, and Adriana has to be careful. Right now, the three of you are riding high from fan praise and support, but I always point out how fickle the fans are. Like, I was actually surprised at the way that some people were critiquing Guerdy's behavior at the reunion, because I didn't expect it. So the tides seem to already kind of be shifting. So I do hope that Guerdy understands that going forward, if she does return for season 8, that you might not have the same support from the fans that you had this season. And if you're going to continue to be vocal online, just be prepared that you might face more critique than praise. Because legit, I was actually surprised that people were irritated by her at the reunion. Like, they, like, I was like, oh wow. Okay. Okay. You know? So yeah. But that's all I got for you guys today. As always, remember to be brotherly authentic. Definitely hop down in the comments below. Please be on the lookout for my review for the reunion part 1. Like the video and subscribe. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.